not everyone is going to make it to the season finale. And it's true, not everyone's going to make it to the season finale. Hello, hello, hello. This is James off the cuff, and I wanted to talk about losing friends as we age, especially as a millennial. It's something that I'm sure we've all been through, or we're all going to go through at some point. And it happens especially at transitional stages of our lives. So, for example, shifting our focus to focus more on our careers, our personal goals that sometimes take more precedence than maintaining friendships that we previously had. Or sometimes we just outgrow the friendships that we've had that we thought we would be having for the rest of our lives. It's sad, but it is part of life. At the moment, for myself now, there's people who are now starting to move out of London. London isn't the cheapest city to live in. So granted, when people do want to decide to build a family and buy a home, they tend to go a bit further out, whether it's towards the northern part of London or southern eastern part of London. They tend to move quite a bit out of London in order to just survive. So yeah, I guess sometimes shifting your priorities for survival, sometimes it just requires a lot more energy and planning to keep in touch with friends. And naturally, our values are going to change. Conversations that used to stimulate us are not always going to stimulate us in the same ways that they did in our 20s or teens. I had a really good friend that I met in university, and I realized that all the conversations that I was having with them was very much gossip based. It was very much about other people's business. And when I was in my teens, granted, that sort of stuff was stimulating. We'd have jokes about it, we'd laugh about it. But then as you get older and you work on yourself and your personal goals start to change and your values and morals start to change, that level of communication and dialogue no longer serves you. You no longer are stimulated from the conversation. And then equally, you may have friends who 10 years ago you had the best time with. You'd be able to go so many places with them. You could spend the whole day and it'd be nothing but vibes on vibes on vibes on vibes. And then it may get to a point whereby you no longer feel the same way being around that friend. You start to dread being in their presence because of the energy that they bring to conversations. And after spending a day with them, you then feel a bit drained. And that's always the alarm bells that you've outgrown that friendship. Sometimes, you could bring it to their attention and, express how you feel. But in my experience, I've realized that doing that, it kind of just confirms that that person's no longer meant to be in your life. So whichever way you want to play it, I don't think there's a right or wrong. Some people just tend to make themselves slightly more unavailable, or some people like to address things head on and express how they feel their relationship's going. It may feel and sound a bit intense, but I think it's important to express and communicate what's on your mind with someone, so people know exactly where they stand with you and you know exactly where you stand with them. And in addition to that, you've then now set a boundary of what you're willing to accept in a friendship and what you're not willing to accept in a friendship. And from my own experience, I've realized when I have set those boundaries, the people who are my ride or dies, the people who are meant to be in my life, they will respect them. And they will also try to understand where you're coming from so they can maintain their position in your life. Like I said before in a video I made previously, your life is your business. And when I say your business, your company. You hire, you fire where necessary. And when it comes to, it's going to sound so corporate right now, but when it comes to the restructure and you lay out what the plan is, the people who want to be in your life, they're going to find a place to be in your life. The people who aren't meant to be in your life, they will distance themselves from you once you put that boundary in. So always respect yourself and think about, if you were your own friend and your friend told you these things, what sort of advice would you give to your friend in order to tackle that friendship? And again, I'd just like to say, this isn't negative, it's not positive, it's just a reflection of your own personal growth. In my 20s, I had so much fun. Um, I would kind of say my house was an open house. If I was friends with someone and they were friends with someone, they can definitely come over and we can have a good time and go out, party, come back, drink. It was nice. It was nice having so many people around. It felt like we was able to have a part two of university. But then as you start to get older and your goals change and you start to seek more meaningful connections with people, you realize that those people that you held on to for the good times, for the parties, they're not always there when the bad things happened. And that's not an expectation that they need to be there, but it kind of highlights that they're not solid friends. So as I've gotten older, my circle has gotten so small, and it's continuing to get smaller as the years go by, which is quite scary, because you don't want to be in isolation. You don't want to be by yourself. As we are getting older, people are settling down, they're getting married, having kids. That might be your reality also. It may not be your reality. If you don't have siblings, sometimes you may lean into friends as your siblings, because they say your friends are your chosen family. So when you are seeking meaningful connections, just make sure that those people are solid individuals that, you can depend on and they can depend on you, because it is a two-way street. You need to meet people halfway. And just in addition to that, there is a level of intentionality that needs to happen on both sides in order to maintain that friendship as time progresses, because January has gone just like that. We are now in the first week of February. It is crazy to think how fast this year's already going. It's already moving. So yeah, plan, like I said before, I think in my first video that I uploaded, start planning dates to meet friends. I feel kind of bad actually, because my friend did invite me to go to a concert in March, but I'd seen that artist before and I wasn't that impressed. So I think I now need to think of a plan of what we're going to do in March. And this friend has 2 kids. This friend has had 2 kids in the past 3 years. So this is what we'll work with now. It gets harder. And then we have social media, which is great. If you're from the generation where we first started the whole social media thing, my generation, we had MySpace. Even before that, we had Bebo and High Five. Really telling my age now, but yeah, MySpace probably was like the biggest one, where you'd have your top 5 friends. You would update it as and when, and then we moved on to Facebook and then Instagram. And they are great platforms to keep in the loop of what's going on in people's lives. Well, elements of people's lives that they want to show to us. And that is good, but at the same time, it creates a false sense of connection, whereby you feel like you know what's going on in someone's life. They feel like they know what's going on in your life. But those are the small snippets that we're choosing to share with the world. We're not going to share the grief that we're going through in our family. We're not going to share every failed dating experience that we've been through. We're not going to share our financial struggles. We're not going to share our worries about the future, anxiety. We're not going to share moments of when we just feel like we're not getting anywhere in life. So having social media is a good thing, but I also feel like in-person connection with people, nothing beats that. So If there is someone in your social media that you are friends with, you consider them a friend, they consider you as friend, but you haven't met up in such a long time, I'd say reach out to them. Reach out to them and arrange a lunch or a dinner. Nothing beats that, because you'd be so surprised what is actually going on in someone's life on a day-to-day basis that they just don't want to share on social media. Losing friends as we get older can be sad. It can be bittersweet. It can be painful. But you should always just remember about all of the good times you had with those friends, you know? At one point, those people meant so much to you. So I believe it's really good to hold those memories, those private jokes that you've been able to build with those people, and just have those moments in the back of your mind of a part of your life that you had a great time and cherished. It's not the fact that you're a bad person, they're bad people. Sometimes we just grow apart. Like I said to my friend before, not everyone is going to make it to the season finale. And it's true, not everyone's going to make it to the season finale. We'll see TV shows of characters that have been there in season 1, but sometimes they may not always make it to season 8, 9, 10. And that's just part of life. But you can look back on those episodes and love the fact that they were part of that friendship group. And essentially, that's just life. People come in, people go out. It is very bittersweet, but it's getting used to that feeling of appreciating people while they are in your life, because you never know what's going to happen. I have solid friends that I have been with since the age of 11, 12, and those people are the people who I think at this point now I'll probably be friends with them for the rest of my life. In terms of the level of interaction that we may have, it may be less. I mean, it is getting less as years have gone on. We have a WhatsApp chat, which is buzzing, depending on what's going on. Depending on what's going on in our lives, depending on what's going on in the media, public affairs. But we try to stay in contact. We make an effort of always making sure we meet up for Christmas, to find out what's going on in each other's lives. We make sure we're always there at birthdays, if there's anything happening, birthdays, kids' christenings, baptisms, intentionality. We make an effort to be in each other's lives. And I think if we didn't, it'd be very easy for our lives to just separate, because definitely we don't share the same interests anymore. There may be some overlap, but we don't share the same interest in many things in life, or opinions for that matter. So yeah, I think I'll end it there today, and just know that the friendships that you do have in your life, those are friendships that you are consciously choosing. If you feel like those friendships are no longer serving you, it's okay to end them. If you feel like you need to seek new energy and new friendships in your life, it's down to you to make that step to find new friends, essentially. If you've enjoyed any part of this conversation or can relate to any of it, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And I'm here every Monday talking about just regular things off the top of my head. And you want to follow on this journey, in this conversation, feel free to subscribe. It's been great chatting with you guys. Have a good week. Bye.